And this just leaves me to introduce Steve.
Lovely, thanks Al. Yeah, good evening everyone, my name is Steve and I am a recovered drug addict.
Hey Steve.
I would thank Toby for asking me, but he's not here. He texted me yesterday saying he'd be at work, but there you go. Apologies to Susie, this will be probably the fourth time she's heard me sharing as many weeks. And I've done a good few shares over the last sort of 6 weeks, but still a little bit nervous, a little bit of fear going on. And I don't think that'll ever leave me, do you know what I mean? I just want to carry a message of recovery, you know. And for years, you know, I was ruined and I didn't even know it. Now I'm going to start off with a little bit of a reading from this book, and it's from A Vision for You, you know, and it helps me centre myself and gets rid of that bit of fear. And it says, for most normal folks, drinking means conviviality, companionship and colourful imagination. It means release from care, boredom and worry. There's joyous intimacy with friends and a feeling that life is good. But not so with me in those last days of heavy drinking and drug taking. The old pleasures were gone. They were but memories. Never was I to recapture the great moments of the past. There was an insistent yearning to enjoy life as I once did, and a heartbreaking obsession that some new miracle of control would enable me to do it. There was always one more attempt and always one more failure. The less people tolerated me, the more I withdrew from society, from life itself, as I became a subject of king alcohol and drugs, shivering denizens of that mad realm. The chilling vapour that is loneliness settled down, it thickened, ever becoming blacker. And I sought out sordid places, pubs, clubs, mainly strip clubs, hoping to find understanding, companionship and approval. Momentarily I would, then would come oblivion and the awful awakening to face the hideous four horsemen. Terror, bewilderment, frustration and despair. Unhappy drinkers and drug takers who read this page will understand. Now and then a serious drinker or drug taker, being clean and sober at the moment, says, I don't miss it at all, feel better, work better, having a better time. As an ex-problem drinker, drug taker, I can smile at such a sally. I know my friend is like a boy whistling in the dark to keep up his spirits. You know, and this was me, I'd fool myself. Inwardly, I'd give anything to take half a dozen drinks and get away with it. Presently try the old game again, for I was never happy about my sobriety. I could not picture life without alcohol. Someday, you know, the day came when I was unable to imagine life with it or without it. You know, and I knew loneliness such as few do, and I was at the jumping off place and I would wish for the end. You know, and that page and a half just about sums up my 22 years out there drinking and using, you know. A lot of fun in the early days, you know, at the age of 14, you know, my childhood was my childhood, you know, it weren't that bad. And, you know, nothing in my childhood makes me an addict. You know, what I do know is that at the age of 14 I put drugs and alcohol in my system. Bang. You know, I was lit up. I loved the effect produced. You know, I still remember, clear as day, the first drink I had. It was in a park. You know, I'd had little drinks off my granddad and things like that, little snowballs, whatever those called at Christmas time, you know, but nothing to do anything to me. But this day I got hold of this big old bottle of cider, you know, ropey old cider, never seen an apple in its life. And I started necking it, and I was with a couple of pals, there's a few older lads over the other way. I started necking that cider, you know, and the magic happened. You know, I was lit up, I loved the effect produced, and I could not stop drinking it. You know, and I noticed over the way there, these older lads were smoking these funny bottles, you know, and I ended up over there. They said, would you like to try one of these? I said, yes, I would. You know, and I didn't ask questions. What will it do to me? What effect will it have? You know, first time smoking puff, I just, yes, please. You know, and I quickly found out, you know, I'd done half a bottle of that cider. I smoked one of them buckets, you know, and 2 minutes later, I went all funny colours, puked up everywhere. Everyone was laughing, you know, I was all embarrassed. You know what I mean? And I drank to blackout that night. Do you know what I mean? That first night I got hold of enough, I drank to blackout. You know, and I woke up the next day and just thought, what a fucking great night that was. You know, and I cannot wait to do that again. You know, and it started. You know, I truly believe I was born with this illness, you know, the first 2 parts. The obsession of the mind kicked off that very first night, and so did the allergy, do you know what I mean? I could not stop. You know, and for the first couple of years, finances, my family, my dad, you know, stopped me doing it on a daily basis. But every chance I've got, every little bit of money I've got, went on a bottle of cider and a bit of puff. Do you know what I mean? It was in the parks with my mates, down the old youth club and things like that, with bottles of Chinzano. Drink to blackout every time, you know. And I was getting brought home by the police. You know, they'd find me by the age of 15. I'm in my nan and granddad's shed. They used, you know, they should do all their own homemade wine, gooseberry wine, raspberry wine. You know, it tasted like shit. You know, but I wanted after the taste. I was in there every weekend robbing it. You know, and the police would find me in abandoned cars, in bushes, parks, wherever, in complete blackout, and they'd cart me off home to my old man. You know, and it happened over and over again. And my old man, you know, he was always on my case about it. I just thought, you know, just leave me alone. I'm just having fun. You know what I mean? By the age of 6, I remember I woke up one morning after being blacked out with his hands around my throat, you know. Poor bloke don't know what to do with me, you know. 16 years old, and I'm getting brought home every weekend in complete blackout, you know. I'm getting nicked all the time, you know. I was out thieving and all that stuff. You know, looking back, you know, I had a big old row with him that morning. I walked out the house. You know, and when I look back, I left home that day for no other reason than he was getting in the way of my drinking and using. Do you know what I mean? I went and lived in my mate's shed. You know, I stayed in his back garden. Do you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, I could do what I wanted, when I wanted. You know, and up yours to the world. Do you know what I mean? I was off and running. You know, and I very rarely drew a sober breath for the next 20 years. Do you know what I mean? From the age of 16 to the age of 36, I was always on something or other. The booze was always there. You know, and I am exactly what that book talks about, you know, but I know today alcohol is a drug. That's why I introduced myself as a drug addict. You know, and from the age of 16 it was party time. Started getting in pubs and clubs. You know, I'd pick up drugs, certain types of drugs, whatever it may be. You know, if I liked the effect produced, I could not stop taking it. You know, until it ruined me mentally or physically. You know, and someone would say, do you want to try one of them? You know, they're good. I'll say, yes, please. You know, first time I took ecstasy, I'd already done a load of speeds. My mate come up to me and said, do you want to try one of them? He had 2 pills in his hand. Didn't ask questions. Again, what will it do? What effect will it have? I just took both, swallowed them. He said, you shouldn't have done that. You know, and 20 minutes later I found out again. You know, puked up everywhere. But I was gone. You know, I loved the effect produced. You know, and I couldn't stop taking them. You know, and that was my experience. You know, I'd pick up those drugs, I'd use them until they ruined me mentally or physically, and I'd quickly move on. You know, and it just went on and on. You know, it was daily. You know, it'd be drink and puff during the week, and then as soon as Thursday come, I was gone. You know, I learnt very early on how to justify and rationalise my behaviour. You know, I sold a lot of drugs. You know, I'd say to my missus, I'm going out the weekend, I'm going to sell all this. You know, and when I come back, I'll have a load of money. The truth is, I just wanted to get out of the house and get out my nut, do you know what I mean? And I'd be gone from Thursday, and I'd come back Sunday. You know, and who knows what she must have thought, but she put up with it for 20 years, you know, only God knows why. I don't. You know, but the party lasted till I was 26, you know, and got to the point I could not put that stuff in my system no more. You know, pills, I started rejecting it, my body, you know, I couldn't take it. You know, so my drinking became at home, you know, mainly pubs on a Friday night. Do you know what I mean? No intention of stopping. You know, and then someone offered me a line of cocaine. And I was off and running again. You know, and for the next 4 years it was a lot of cocaine and a lot of booze. You know, and I always had the idea in my head that, you know, people started questioning me about my drinking and using. You know, and if you start questioning me, you know, I'll quickly change friends and things like that. You know, if you don't drink and use like me, we don't drink and use together. It's as simple as that. You know, but I got to the age of 30 and I thought, you know what, Stevie boy, it's about time. You know, I'd had enough of drinking, taking drugs every day of the week. You know, and it'd been going on for years. You know, and I had no intentions of stopping. You know, all I wanted to do was just use at weekends. You know, a little bit of sniff and a few beers in, you know, with the boys at the weekend. You know, so I'd been on the run for a couple of years for some driving offences and stuff like that, and I had the idea in my head, if I get sent to prison, I'll get away from them people, you know, and get separated away from the drink for a little while. You know, I'll come out and I'll just drink weekends. You know, I'll beg the judge, please send me to jail. He did. He gave me 28 days. You know, just enough time to detox. I knew nothing of detoxes up till that point, you know, and I did my first detox in Winchester prison. You know, and I left there, you know, give me 28 days, I had to do 14 days. So I completed my detox. Didn't really touch nothing else in there. I smoked a little bit of puff, but, you know, I left that gaff with £5.50, you know, and for bus fare home from Winchester to Portsmouth. And my head went, you know what, Stevie, you deserve a couple of little beers. You know, you've been banged up for a couple of weeks. 2 beers ain't going to hurt you. You know, so I hit the off licence, I see a deal, 6 for a fiver. I said, I'll have 6 of them, please. You know, and used the 50p to make a phone call to get a lift back. And I was gone. You know, and a couple of months later, I'm baffled, confused. I don't know how I've got here again, because all I wanted to do was have a couple of beers at the weekends, you know, and that's when the detoxes started, you know. My problems really started when I tried to get some control around it, you know, because I quickly found out, you know, with the help of a detox centre, I could stop, you know, but I could not stay stopped. You know, maximum I stayed stopped was 12 weeks. You know, and I know today the illness kicks off within me when the drink and the drugs are taken away from me, do you know what I mean? You know, because I'd go into that detox centre, you know, for the first 4 years, the obsession in my mind was that this time it's going to be different. You know, I'm only going to drink weekends. You know, and that stayed with me for 4 years. You know, in and out of detox, same thing happened every time. You know, I'd leave there, I'd be taking sleeping tablets and still smoking weed. You know, because I couldn't grasp the fact that total abstinence, what's that? Do you know what I mean? My care manager, you know, Andy R. You know, he's my sponsor today. And you know, for 6 years he was my care manager. He used to take me to the other 2 fellowships, introduce himself as an alcoholic or an addict, depending where he was. I never heard none of that. You know, I had a very bad hearing problem. You know, but yeah, for 4 years in and out of detox, always believing, you know, that this time it will be different. You know, I'm only going to use weekends, or I'm only going to have a little bit of that and I won't touch that. You know, but as soon as I picked up a drink, you know, I'd be flat out on Class A's again. And it baffled me, you know, I couldn't understand why. You know, within 6 months I'm back begging for a detox, you know, and the more I'd done that, the worse I got, do you know what I mean, within my own self, you know, the more I harmed my family, you know, because I ended up going so deep within my own self, you know, everyone else around me paid the price. You know, and by the age of 34, you know, I absolutely knew, having done that detox, I knew it was only a matter of time before I would pick up, you know, and I started stashing Libriums and things like that, you know, so I knew I'm going to have to detox myself at some point. You know, and I carried on for another 2 years, knowing full well, when I put that first one in, I could not stop. You know, but I just didn't know why. I sat in the rooms with the other 2 fellowships. You know, and my head would play games with me even there. You know, I'd sit in the one that talks about alcohol, and my head would go, you know what, Stevie boy, you're not an alcoholic. You know, you just take a lot of drugs. You know, and then I'd go to the other fellowship, my head would go, you don't belong here, Stevie boy, you drink a lot, you know, you ain't really got a problem with drugs. You know, so I separated myself. You know, so when I found Cocaine Anonymous, you know, and they said to me, you know, we deal with everything, I see the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, I found home. You know, and it got, you know, 2013, you know, my ex-partner had enough. You know, all the broken promises, you know, this time I'm going to do it. You know, it was coming up for Christmas, and she said to me, you can stay for Christmas, after Christmas I want you gone, you know, for the sake of the kids. You know, by this time my kids didn't want to be nowhere near me, you know, I was an absolute nightmare, they were scared of me. you know, and I was scared of myself, I was honest, you know what I mean? Anyway, you know, the detox centre said to me, you cannot come in here no more. I did 12 residential detoxes in the end and 2 home detoxes. You know, and the 2 home detoxes I did over the Christmas period 2013. Christmas came and went. My ex-partner said to me, I want you gone, you know. And I moved out, I'll never forget it, and I hope I never do. You know, I think I was 2 weeks sober at the time. You know, the booze became my main problem towards the end. You know, I just could not stop drinking. It was always the booze I went back to first. And January 2013, on the 13th of January, it was a Friday. I moved out of the family home, I found a place to stay. It was in a high-rise block of flats in Pompey, 6 floors up. And I went at it for 3 days, you know, and I picked up an 1/8 of cocaine. Just been paid from work, sold the last of my bit of weed that I had, and I had enough money on me to go at it for probably a good week or so. You know, and I went at it, you know, and I drank and used for that 3 days for no other reason than I did not want to wake up in the morning, you know. I drank to what that book talks about, you know, complete oblivion, and I did not want to wake up. I woke up on a Saturday morning, not fucking again, do you know what I mean? Just absolutely riddled, do you know what I mean? Broken. And I just went at it again Saturday, all day, all night. Woke up Sunday, done the same thing. You know, and on that Monday morning, I know today the power of God entered my life that day. You know, I woke up on a Monday morning with 1 can of beer left. I checked my pockets, so I had about 100 quid. You know, and I broke. You know, and I was hanging out of that 6th floor window, and my head's going to me, jump, 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 jump. And I was looking down. Something pulled me back. The power of God, I do believe today, do you know what I mean? Pulled me back from that window. And the last 2 detoxes I've done was at my local hospital. They said, if you tried treatment, you know, rehab or whatever. I said, I tried that 4 years ago, it never worked. Do you know what I mean? I lasted 4 hours. Didn't even give it a chance. You know, so I went back there. Somehow, I got back there. I had that last can of beer in the morning to get up and out that door. You know, and I found myself back at the hospital begging, please send me to treatment. And they put me back in contact with my care manager, the same man that turned up in my life 6 years prior. You know, and he said to me, we'll get you a rehab, you know, and I made a phone call to my dad. I said, please can I come and stay with you while I'm waiting to get into treatment, you know. And for the first time in 22 years, I put everything down. Stopped smoking weed, stopped sleeping tablets. And I waited at his house for a month, you know, and that was the most painful time of my life, you know, a month stuck with this going on, you know, kill yourself, use, do you know what I mean? You know, I got to that treatment centre a month clean and sober, wanting to die, do you know what I mean? I left there 3 months later, wanting to die, in a worse state than I went in, do you know what I mean? You know, but the one thing I left with was a sponsor in CA, do you know what I mean? He was a staunch member of CA, showed me what I suffered with whilst I was in there, do you know what I mean? We've done a big book study, you know, and explained the 3 parts of this illness, mind, body and spirit, you know, and when he started explaining this stuff, you know, the fucking lights came on. You know, and what I know today is that the possession of my mind was with me from the age of 14, you know, I could not stop thinking about drinking and using. You know, and even when I was drinking and using, you know, I was constantly thinking about where that next lot's coming from. You know, I remember being barricaded in my kitchen one night with £200 worth of crack cocaine, 96 cans of Kronenberg, you know, and already my head's going, when that runs out, where are you going to get some more? You know, so that obsession of mine, it made sense, the light came on, you know, and he explained to me, you know, it's not the 20th can of beer that does the damage, Stevie boy, it's the first one, you know. And that allergy of the body that I suffer with, you know, explained to me why I had every intention of going to the pub on a Friday night for 2 beers, you know, and I'd wake up Sunday, don't know where I've been, what I've done, you know, the phenomenon of craving develops, you know, and I cannot stop, you know, until I wake up, I've run out of money or whatever, you know, so it made sense, but the bit that hit home for me was the spirit, do you know what I mean? Take away the drink and drugs, You know, and that's when my problems start. My spirit starts to die. You know, my mind starts to lead me up the garden path, you know, beats the shit out of me day in, day out for the wrongs I've done to everyone, you know, until I end up picking up. You know, picking up a drink or a drug probably saved my life on a number of occasions, you know, because it gets to the point, clean and sober, where I just want to kill myself. You know, so I left that treatment centre worse than I went in, you know, and the next day I was in that book with another man, you know, and 6 weeks later I'd smashed through those steps. You know, the obsession had been lifted probably halfway through those steps, somewhere around about step 5 or 6, you know what I mean, when I shared my inventory and stuff. You know, and I put this stuff down a year in, you know, and I went a bit crazy. You know, I worked them steps backwards in the same amount of time I worked them, do you know what I mean? Worked those steps within 6 weeks. In the same amount of time I managed to get back to step 1. Powerless. Not even a thought of drinking or using, you know, just, you're a piece of shit, Stevie boy, kill yourself. All that came back. You know, so since that day, you know, I picked up the phone and I've gone at this stuff. You know, when someone asks me to do a share, it's yes. You know, there really is, for me, only one answer for a CA request, and that is yes. You know, this is probably the 6th share I've done in as many weeks. You know, and I go at this stuff and I stick in the middle of that triangle, you know, service, unity, recovery, and I sponsor people today, you know, and I have a beautiful life, you know, and I've managed to get to Australia last year. My mum's been out there 20 odd years, maybe nearly 30 years. And I blamed her for years, do you know what I mean? If you didn't leave me when I was 6 years old, I would not be the way I am. You know, but through the power of those steps, you know, I was able to forgive her. You know, and I got out there, spent 6 weeks doing up her little wooden house out there. Fucking amazing, do you know what I mean? I built a little relationship with her, you know, and I couldn't have done that stuff before, not without these steps, you know. I'm off out there again in 6 weeks' time. I'm going to land there on my 40th birthday, you know, and travel for a month. I've been to Rome this year, do you know what I mean? Mental stuff, you know, and I have a beautiful relationship with my kids today. I blame my old man for years as well. I have a beautiful relationship with him. You know, I turn up every weekend, you know, we have a chat, I tell him I love him. You know, and I sat down with him and said, it's not your fault, 'cause he blamed himself for years as well, do you know what I mean? If I was there for you, you wouldn't be like the way you are. And I was able to sit down with him or step 9 and say to him, you know, it weren't your fault. You know, so not only have I recovered, but my family have recovered also, do you know what I mean? You know, and if you are new about, I think I want to wind it up, you know, I suppose the message is, you know, get yourself a big book. I was made a promise, you know, by my sponsor, the day after I left treatment. He said, if you embark upon these 12 steps, you know, continue to work this stuff within your daily life, you will never have to drink or use again. You know, that's been my experience for something like, I think it's 1,345 days. You know, and I don't say that to impress anyone, but it fucking impresses me. You know, and I'd like to leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Cheers, Steve.